Buongiorno! What's up, mortals? It's Shara Zor-El here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 1 of What If Shinso Was an Assassin? Just wanted to greet you guys by saying, sit back and relax. You're in for a treat with this new series. So, we begin. Raptor, raptor in the sky, flying high above plains, seeking prey, with her eyes ablaze, worrying not of the storm coming forth to raise. Raptor, raptor, fly far, far away. Growing up in the Shinso household was strange. Hardly anybody came to visit Hitomi's home, except maybe her uncle Shoto Aizawa, better known as the underground hero Eraserhead. Today, however, was different. Today, her dear uncle was joined by another man. 4-year-old Hitomi looked up from the rug she was playing with her military action figures on. The newcomer was rotund and was wearing a bright yellow hoodie with 2 Fs that mirrored each other on each side of his front and a G that was divided up by the zipper.
You have to relocate again. The Grandmaster is in Mustafu.
Aizawa began, much to the ire of his brother. They were not really related, but had spilled blood together during the last war with their enemy, the Templar Order. It was by this and the Assassin Brotherhood that sealed their bond. No, I am... Hitomi's father took a breath and clasped his wife's hand. We are sick of running. The Grandmaster can come taste my blades.
Den Master Fatgum has agreed to take your child to safety.
Aizawa was desperately trying to get through to him. Hitomi's father had failed his last mission and had assassinated the wrong target. Though he found out in the end that they were a villain and the serial killer was known as Dabi, he had inadvertently broken the truce with the Order. Dabi was the Order's Grandmaster's eldest son. If he had only just captured him. You would trust your niece to a stranger? Aizawa's brother was now insulted, as was Fatgum. However, understood.
Fatgum is in charge of our Brotherhood's sect here in Mustafu.
Aizawa was beside himself. Did his brother not know who this rotund man was? Did he not know what Fatgum's rank was within the Brotherhood?
Why would I not?
I do not know him. Hitomi's father's voice was apologetic as he gave a nod to the Den Master. We have only been in this prefecture for less than a month. The only one I trust is you, Shota. Hitomi's father then pointed at Aizawa, who took a breath and nodded his head. Very well. Keep our daughter safe. He then clasped Aizawa's forearm, and the hero mirrored it. Nothing is true.
Everything is permitted.
Aizawa finished their Brotherhood's maxim. Hitomi's parents then came to her. With a loving smile, her father picked her up. She met his smile with her own, then lost herself in his embrace. My precious, beautiful daughter, I love you with my entire being. He spoke softly as he swayed with her in his arms. She was his entire world. The world could burn and would not let it touch you. He then kissed her head and passed her over to her mother. She silently cried as she held on to her child with her very soul. This would be the last time Shinso Hitomi would ever see her parents alive. Aizawa was watching over his niece as she played with the boy in the park they were in. He briefly looked down at the paper he was reading when he sensed 2 men approach him. Readying his hidden blade on his left hand, he was suddenly hallowed. With a loud thud, his brother's broken blade and the bloody leather gauntlet were dropped upon his paper. He looked up to see the men slowly walk away, saying, "Truce restored." He then immediately looked towards where his niece was. She was safe, and Aizawa rolled up his brother's blade in his newspaper before approaching her.
Time to go, Hitomi.
5 more minutes, Zio! The child begged, saying uncle in Italian. Hitomi's parents were originally born in Japan, but as they rose up in rank within the Brotherhood of Assassins, immigrated to Firenze, or how it's known in the West, Florence, Italy. After Hitomi was born, they were given special permission to return to their home in the land of the rising sun.
Tell you what, if we leave right now, I will get you and your little friend here some gelato.
At Aizawa's words, the child's eyes lit up, as did the green-haired boy she was playing with. I have to ask my mom, sir. As luck would have it, his mom had shown up. The boy asked his mom, who was taken aback, for she recognized him as the underground hero, Eraserhead. "Oh my god, your uncle is Eraser!" The emerald-haired boy began to jump with glee and dance around with Hitomi. She smiled and laughed as they went to a gelato stand just outside the park. After bringing the boy back to his mother, the niece and hero uncle left. Hero work and missions from the Brotherhood were becoming more and more dangerous. While on several patrols, Eraserhead had been given several subtle threats from the Order. They were all scare tactics, really, but it seemed that they were meant to put pressure on the truce between the two factions. What haunted Eraser's dreams at night was the fact that no one in the Mustafu, or Japan for that matter, knew who the Order's Grand Master was. He could not even bury his niece's parents. They were forced to let the city cremate their remains as punishment for their crimes. The only solace Aizawa had was when he took his niece to the park and watched her play with her little green-haired friend. Today, however, even that was taken from him. He watched as he saw a known Templar enter the park with her son. Both were blonde and wore their hair in a spiky puffball style. In short, the mother and son were the spitting image of each other with crimson, feral eyes. He watched carefully as he read his paper from a bench. As his misfortune had it, she decided to sit with him. They both traded slight glances, knowing each other's dark secrets. It was then the blonde boy kicked sand upon both the children. "Kachan! Will you just leave us alone? Shut it, nerd, and know your place!" The blonde, now known as Kachan, then struck the green-haired boy. "Go away! We don't want to play with you!" Shinso declared as the blonde turned to her, ready to strike her. Aizawa then unsheathed his blade, the sound causing the woman beside him to stop her child. Aizawa then returned it.
"The other one is under my care as well. You saw what he did."
The woman then coughed in understanding, then adjusted herself. She followed this up by scolding her child and vacating the premises. Soon after, Aizawa and Shinso left, with the former wondering if the Order knew about the girl. Aizawa arrived back at his house not too long after leaving the park. His niece ran in to distract their cat's coffee and cream, while he fixed their wet food. It was then he saw something on his fridge. It was a drawing Shinso did of her mother and father, both of which had angel wings.
"Mommy and Daddy are dead. Aren't they, Zio?"
Aizawa had to brace himself on the counter as silent tears fell from his eyes.
"I saw the two men in the park drop something on your lap."
At this, Aizawa let out a groan as he fell to his knees. Shinso then got up and walked towards her uncle, hugging him. The underground hero then broke down in the little girl's embrace.
"They're not going to stop, are they, Zio?"
Aizawa tightened his embrace, confirming what she already knew.
"Why, Zio? Why?"
"My precious, precious child. Because we cannot help but kill each other,"
Aizawa said solemnly. It was then that Shinso began to finally cry. She cried for the death of her parents, for the sorrow that her dear uncle had to and was going through. She cried for the hatred that followed both of them, that the Templar Order caused. She cried till she could cry no more.
"Zio, I'm scared,"
Shinso said, as she broke her embrace and Aizawa wiped both her tears.
"As am I, dear child,"
Aizawa said. His voice, though hesitant, still held a quiet strength.
"I do not want to be afraid anymore."
Shinso sniffed as she looked at her uncle dead in the eyes.
"Teach me, uncle."
"I do not want this life for you, my child."
Shinso was about to protest, but it seems like this life that we live, has chosen you. Before we get back to the video, I'd like to talk about our new channel, Celestia, our channel dedicated to all things Dungeons & Dragons. Currently, we have a series breaking down the different spells in D&D, and soon we'll be starting some new series as well. So if you're a fan of D&D, or have an interest in learning about it, check it out. Additionally, if there is something you've always wanted to see get made into a video, head over there and leave a comment mentioning it. That's it for now. Let's get back to the video!
"What is truth?"
Shinso then shook her head. No, that wasn't it. She was trying to remember, then she spoke.
Nothing is true. Everything is permitted. What does that mean, Zio?
It's our now, Brotherhood's maxim.
Aizawa then picked her up.
It means there really is no right or wrong answer to anything, for you will have to find your own personal truth.
Aizawa then took her to the living room, then set her down on the couch and began to reveal the hidden war that he fought. He spared her nothing, revealing who the Brotherhood of Assassins were, along with the Order of the Knights Templar. He did not know both factions' origins completely. Only the mentor of the Brotherhood knew that.
He told me, I cannot train you as much as I want to. I cannot.
Shinso looked at her uncle with sadness.
The Order is targeting you. No doubt they know who you are. That blonde boy you chased off, his mother is a part of the Order.
Shinso then understood what he meant, as she hugged him as a way to ask for forgiveness.
If you truly want to no longer be scared, I can help you.
The fat guy in the hoodie?
Aizawa shook his head no, as he let out a small chuckle. No. Aizawa chuckled as he patted Shinso's head.
You will have to return to Florence.
Firenze!
The little girl cheered at the mention of the place of her birth.
Yes, Firenze.
The hero could not help but be caught up in the little girl's joy.
I know a powerful man that will grant you what you need.
Ezio?
At the name, Aizawa was taken aback. How did she...
Papa liked to call him
Mentore. Yes, it means mentor.
Aizawa was surprised at how perceptive his niece truly was.
He's a very important man in the Brotherhood. You must always approach him with only the highest and utmost respect at all times.
Yes, Zio. I promise I will.
With that promise made, she helped her uncle feed the cats and was off to bed. Aizawa then took a breath after tucking his beloved niece into bed. He then made his way to his room and into the closet. As he hit a panel, a wall spun around and copper plates sealed him in. In front of him was an old monitor with the camera built in. Aizawa then unsheathed his blade and cut his finger, coating it in his own blood. He then stuck the blade into what seemed to be a keyhole and twisted. The symbol of the Brotherhood, an elegantly drawn A, popped up, and then was replaced with the words, "Speak."
As sure as the sun will rise, so these raptors will fly.
Aizawa said, and the monitor beeped, and the words, "Accepted. Welcome, Master Assassin Aizawa Shota." The monitor then encrypted the line, and the person he was trying to reach came online. He was an older, handsome man with a full beard and goatee. His white hood was embroidered and elegant, and covered his dark coffee-colored eyes. He gave off an air of power, and of one to be respected.
Mentore.
Aizawa bowed his head, and placed his right fist on his left shoulder. The man then gave him a nod in acknowledgement.
As you know, Master Shinso and his wife...
Aizawa could barely bring himself to say the words.
Facile, lei maestro Aizawa.
The mentor's voice was sympathetic and kind.
Maestro Shinso was a good man, and his wife, bellissima. We mourn along with you. What of his child?
Mentore. She lives, but is hunted.
The mentor gave a disapproving groan, which caused Aizawa to take in a breath.
She knows of her parents' death, and is scared.
Beh, certo che lo sarebbe. Why wouldn't she?
It seems the mentor had a flash of his own daughters, slipping into father mode before taking a breath and composing himself.
Mi scusi, maestro. I suddenly became aware of my own children.
No need to explain, Mentore. I understand.
Aizawa bowed his head again before continuing.
Mentore, she does not want to be scared anymore.
Continua.
The mentor replied, his interest now piqued.
She asked me to train her. She's fully aware of what her parents were a part of.
The mentor took a breath, deciphering what the master assassin was going to ask.
Ultimo. Very well. Bring her to me.
Suddenly, a ticket printed out from a slot beside the monitor. It was for a private plane at a local municipal airport.
I have already alerted the den master of your departure. Safe travels.
Thank you, Mentore. Nothing is true.
Aizawa said as he bowed, repeating his greeting from before.
Everything is permitted.
The mentor nodded, then cut the transmission. An hour later, Aizawa and Shinso were airborne, headed to Florence, Italy. At the same time in Tokyo, several men and women from the Order of the Knights Templar now stood before a large man dressed in a decorative black and gold officer uniform. Around his neck was the symbol of the order, a Templar cross with a round onyx jewel in the center of it.
May the Father of Understanding guide us,
the men and women in front of the large man said in greeting.
May the Father of Understanding guide us.
This was the Grand Master of the Order of the Knights Templar. He had to hold back a scoff as the words came off his tongue.
Attacks on the Brotherhood will continue, however. Most of you have forgotten your place.
At his words, the two men who tossed the bloody blade on Aizawa's lap were dragged in by several guards. They were chained and roughly brought to their knees in front of the gathering.
These fools especially. They decided on their own to actively provoke a master assassin.
At this, the Grand Master's face erupted in flames as his quirk activated.
We do not blatantly and openly expose our unseen hand, especially to the public at large!
The two fools were cut off before they could speak.
Your act of theatrics and grandstanding went against my order!
The Grand Master's voice bellowed through the hallowed halls of the building.
You were to deliver the gauntlets directly to their den master as per my order, but you usurped that, didn't you?
Without another word, the Grand Master took a sword and used his quirk to engulf it in flames. He then executed the two men by beheading.
My word is absolute. We are done here.
The Grand Master's body then burned away the uniform, revealing a blue hero uniform underneath. This revealed him to be Japan's number 2 hero, the Flame Hero, Endeavor, quirk Hellflame, an advanced form of pyrokinesis. He could not only manipulate fire, but also create it. He did not even wait for his order to say their mantra as he left the hall and went back to his office. He then sat behind his desk and picked up a file. On it was a picture of the one that got away, Shinso Hitomi. Aizawa and Shinso landed at a private airport just outside of Florence. It looked like nothing more than a field with an asphalt landing strip. Dawn was just breaking over the horizon as the jet taxied to a stop and its passengers exited. One moment the landing strip was emptied. The next, they were surrounded by several members of the Brotherhood, varying in rank. Suddenly, a loud thump is heard atop their jet. Shinso was the first to spot him.
It's Ezio!
At the child's words, Aizawa's eyes went wide as he immediately fell to one knee, apologizing.
Ezio! Mentore Magnifico!
At this, the mentor, now known as Ezio, leapt off the jet, flipped once, and landed in front of a clapping Shinso Hitomi. He then gave a humble bow, all the while smiling beneath his hood. He then greeted the child by taking her hand and kissing it, causing her to blush.
Grazie. E buona giornata,
the child replied in greeting. She then paused and remembered suddenly what her uncle told her. She then thought of the most proper thing she could think of, and curtsied.
Nothing is true.
Ezio had to hold back a chuckle at the sight before him. She reminded him of his own daughters when they were her age.
And everything is permitted. Benvenuta a casa Tottori, Signorita Shinso.
He could not help himself as he picked up the child, much to her delight. He then looked at the terrified master assassin bowing before him.
And welcome, Maestro, for this is your home as well.
You humble me, Mentore.
Ezio pulled down his hood and smiled, helping Aizawa to his feet.
Non pensace, Maestro. She's how you say.
He then looked at the little girl he was holding with one arm.
won me over. You can call me Nonino, my little raptor. Well, at least when you're not training.
Shinso then gave the mentor the biggest hug she could, melting his heart as he returned it with great vigor.
I promise you this, little raptor. You will never feel fear again.
Shinso's new Nonino said as he rubbed her back.
For it will learn to fear you.
Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I really hope you enjoyed it. This is the writer's passion project, so please, please, please let him know in the comments if you liked it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to say, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Are We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years old to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for new members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching, and have a great day. Ciao!